spokesperson.
You mean you just call this guy up?
About life and about reality.
And now, America's #1 reality radio show for men. Live from Los Angeles, it's Spencer Kobren's The Bald Truth.
Hey guys, Joe, I don't see the stream. Is it streaming?
Yeah, it's streaming.
Wow, do I have the wrong link now? What's going on? Hey guys, sorry for the delay. Let me see if we can. Oh, there we go. We are on. Awesome. That didn't take a half fucking hour to make happen.
No.
Guys, the phone number is 888-659-3727. That's 888-659-3727. Welcome to the Bald Truth. Sorry for the delay. We're going to ask you guys who are in Joe's chat room to let us know how the sound is. Joe's sound, especially, and the caller sound. My sound levels look fine. Joe was having some issues, so we will see what happens. If you're new to the broadcast, don't know who we are, why I'm here, sitting here. I've been sitting here for 23 years. This is the Hair Loss Show. 23, well, it'll be 1998. So what's that? 22 years. Going on 23 years.
Yeah. At this point, does it really matter? 22, 23? A long damn time, people. How's the audio on that?
It's funny. You're coming in solo. Go ahead, speak. So as I bring
Otar, that's good.
I bring you up,
says Joe sounds good.
Your room noise goes up, but your audio stays relatively low. So we'll see.
All right, let's give this a shot.
You may have to speak directly into the mic or something.
We will give this a shot. Yeah, Mr. Rolanda says Joe's sound is super low. Joe now sounds low.
Joe's low. Joe's coming in low. I don't know what it is. If I punch you all the way up on my end, I hear all your room noise. Speak.
Check 1 2. Check 1 2.
And you do.
Check.
And your mic does not pull in the sound.
Okay, let me adjust on my end. How's that?
Hit your microphone. Just hit it. Touch it. Okay, so your mic is working, but it's not bringing in. Not really bringing in a lot of sound except for the room.
Isn't that unusual? So yeah, I just bumped it up on my end on the software side of things.
I mean, you sound fine in my headset, but I could see it in the meters that you are running low, and people are going to hear it as low. Now,
I just made an adjustment on my end. Has my sound just changed?
It got a little louder.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so check 1 2, check 1 2, check 1 2. Just made a final adjustment.
Yeah, it's okay. It's going to be lower than my levels. I'm looking at the levels right now. You're going into like mid-green, which is, like mid-range.
Yeah. Okay, how's that? Right now, check 1 2, check 1 2, check, 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 check. Genetic Freak 84 says, can't hear Joe. Rob says, still low.
Yeah, I could I got you all potted up all the way, and I'm bringing up your gain here, which brings a lot of room noise. But go ahead, keep trying.
Okay, check 1 2, check 1 2, check 1 2.
All right, so for me, it's
check.
like it's possible. I'm just wondering if it's the software, because for some reason what I'm pulling into you is not great.
Yeah, Mr. Rolandis asked me if I've tried to check Skype settings. We're not using Skype, so no. Okay, I can try this. Check 1 2, check 1 2. How's that? Is that better?
No, I mean you're coming in louder for the software, but it's like you're blaring my ears. But maybe there's something happening with the software. I don't know. I'll just bring down my headset.
Yeah. Okay. Rob says it's a lot better.
Oh.
Okay, and I hear it almost like I can hear myself a little bit on the playback in this ear, and it's almost like it's cracking up a bit. Let me try my laptop here. 1 second. Yeah.
I'm okay, guys.
Just
By the way,
maybe
if anybody's worrying.
We're all okay here.
This isn't too stressful.
Okay, hold on a second. In this ear, it's almost like it's... Yeah, on YouTube it sounds fine to me. Because I turn up the volume here. So, all right. Mordecai says it's much better. Yeah. Okay, everyone's saying it's better now. All right, so I guess that's it.
All right. Well, it's better, but it's still coming in low to our software, but it is what it is. If people could hear you, great. We'll see if the phone system has a problem like it did last week. Anyway, guys, the phone number is 888-659-3727. I recorded like 20 interviews this week. No fucking problems.
So it's obviously me. It's obviously, but we'll work it out.
It's got to be. Guys, this is the Hair Loss Show. We are here live every week, mostly, doing this broadcast so that you guys can call in and talk about all of your hair loss concerns, questions, problems, situations where you may just need to vent. If you're considering having hair transplant surgery, honestly, this is, or at least we consider this to be a very safe place to get completely objective, honest, 100% truthful information. Our philosophy is surgery is a last resort. Now I hear you in my fucking headset, man. I hear myself. Surgery is the last resort, and if you are considering surgery, please understand what all of your options are. Please understand the entire scope and possible pitfalls. Understand that if you're 22 years old and you've been losing hair for a year, surgery is probably not a fucking option for you. That is not the way it's being sold on the internet. That's not the way it's being sold through social media, through Instagram, through Facebook, on people's personal websites, on the insane message forums. Honestly, listen, we have baldtruthtalk.com. It's, for whatever reason, it's ridiculously trafficked. It's insane. I tell people to stay off the forum. The more I tell them to stay off the forum, the more they come to the forum. But with that said, we try to keep things tight on there. Just so that people could, they can get information, they can, see, varying degrees of success in people's failures and, the mistakes that they've made and their triumphs. But we don't allow people to sell surgery on the forum. You're not going to go in there and see a moderator come in there and say, hey, great job, Dr. So-and-so. Can we see some more results? Or, oh, awesome result, blah, blah, blah. I want to see him too, because that's bullshit. Been in the forum business for a very, very long time. And when you see posts like that on message forums, understand that the information in general, and based on some real evidence that I've had over the years, including seeing the back end of my own site, it is manipulated information to get you guys, vulnerable hair loss sufferers, to either buy a product or service or to have surgery with a particular doctor. That's why I tell people to stay off the fucking forums.
And two things about that. First off, I think it's important for, I just recognized what we need to do to get more viewership for this show, and that is quite simple. Guys, do not watch The Bald Truth. Whatever you do not come to this channel and watch The Bald Truth, because with that logic, based on what's going on in the forum,
this will be the biggest show on YouTube.
This is going to be the biggest. This is going to beat out Joe Rogan. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. But no, what Spencer's saying about the forums is absolutely true. Like, I cut my teeth in the forums since 2002, and the way that they're manipulated is it's really insane, because like I can see the patterns with certain posters or back when I was on the forums, where just by the way that they're typing that it's the same person that works for the clinic that just posted a result 5 minutes earlier, where they use the same syntax, the same mannerisms in their discussion, the same expletives, things like that. And it's still going on today. Like, sometimes I'll jump on the forums just to see, what's going on. It's rare that I do, but when I do, I see the same people. And when you see someone, and this happens a lot in some of these forums, when you see the same people that were there 15 years ago, and they supposedly don't work for a clinic, guess what? They work for a clinic. There's no reason for someone, especially after they supposedly had successful hair restoration, to still be on hair restoration forums 15 years later, continuously. I'm not talking about coming back after a long time. I'm talking about continuously being on forums for 15 years. Either they work for the clinics that they cheer for, or they're just not healthy, because that's not a healthy behavior for someone that's not in the business. And it's rampant. It happens all over the place. So that's just one of the reasons why forums in general are just not a good idea. There's some bright spots, but in general, it's too easy to manipulate by clinics and those that would have you believe something that you shouldn't be believing. So I felt like chiming in on that because I did jump on the forums recently and I saw the same kind of behavior that I've been seeing for almost 20 years. And it rings true today just like it did back then.
Well, yeah, that's a good point. I'm trying to bring up your gain here through the system. I'm going to set it to automatic gain control and see what happens.
Well, that'll be fun. See how that works.
Well, I mean, it looks like it's a little bit better, but your room noise is just over fucking whelming, dude. But yeah, listen, I'm very, very candid about message forums. I was asked to create baldtruthtalk.com by a group of doctors who felt that they were essentially had their hands tied, that they were being extorted on message forums, that they really had nowhere to turn, and they felt that the forum world was an important world for them and also for people to get information. So I said, sure, I'll do it, but it's going to be a very different type of place. God, I got to set your settings, dude. Your room noise is just fucking killing me. Taking the automatic gain off. I'm bringing you up to 2 dB. Close it and see what happens. But that mentality is just kind of transferred over to social media in general. But it's even worse. I don't know what's worse, actually, because there's so much. I would say that when you're in this closed space, you think you're safer, at least on hair transplant message forums. So the fact that physicians are paying to be on these forums, and then the back end people are manipulating the information in the forums, to me makes it so much more fucking dirty. And I don't want to be involved in that shit. And sometimes physicians ask, well, why is everything being moderated? I'm like, that's in your best interest too, man. Yeah. But really, you want these patients to just get enough information so they can make educated decisions without being swayed by the bullshit of the peanut gallery, who are fake for the most part to begin with.
Where's the peanut gallery come from? What's that reference?
Maybe the circus?
I think that's it. Because you say that, and I'm always like, oh yeah, the peanut gallery. Wait, what does it even mean? Where does it come from? I keep forgetting to look it up.
Yeah.
The peanut gallery. Okay.
You can look it up right now as we speak. Guys, the phone number, 888-659-3727. That's 888-659-3727. I'm playing with a 2-camera shoot now because I'm doing some stuff for the Global Hair Loss Summit. And I don't know. People like to see a tighter shot of me for whatever reason. For
the top gallery in a theater where the cheap seats are located. That's the peanut gallery.
The peanut gallery. Well, then it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it does. Now we know.
Comes from Howdy Doody. It comes from the Howdy Doody show. Maybe it does. Fucking Morty's an old motherfucker. He knows that shit. He knows that. All right, guys, the phone number is 888-659-3727. We're going to take some phone calls. Again, this is the Hair Loss Show. You're going to get nothing but the truth in this program. Forget about what other people have said in the past, about anything. We obviously, we've been working in the industry for a very long time. We work with physicians. Physicians pay a monthly screening fee, basically dues, to be part of my organization, like they pay dues to be part of any organization, except we are selective. We do our best to maintain the IHS in a way it's relatively small. We may be changing things, like I said, because we're evolving with the Global Hair Loss Summit and really providing a lot of educational opportunities for physicians. But we're also going to be opening up more stuff to consumers as well. So you're going to see things evolve. But the reason for the IHS was to really create a safer place to start to do your due diligence and your research. That's it. Kind of close your options a little bit. Well, actually a lot, but just, create a little less confusion when you're making or trying to make your decisions. But to go on a message forum and to allow yourself, whether it's connected to the IHS or connected to, sponsored by other people, whatever it is, and to allow yourself to be manipulated by anonymous fucking people, come on, guys. Wake the fuck up. 1999, 2000 is fucking called, and they want their fucking business model back.
1999 called. They want their business model back. I like it. I like it.
Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this, and where are you calling from?
Hello, it's Michael from Torrance.
Michael from Torrance. How are you, man?
Hello, Michael.
I'm doing pretty good. It's nice to hear from you guys. It's nice that you guys aren't, didn't succumb to COVID. So I'm grateful that you guys are still healthy. So.
Well, that's nice. That's nice to hear. I'm grateful too, but don't jinx me, man.
I'll try not to.
So what's up?
I had a quick question. I'm pretty sure you guys covered this in one of your past videos, but when it comes to washing your hair are you guys an advocate of washing your hair every single day, or do you guys like to skip days in between? I mean, how do you guys do that?
I'm an advocate of washing my hair every single day. I don't think it makes any difference as far as your hair loss is concerned. And for me, if I don't wash my hair every day, I look much thinner on top, and I can't style my hair. So yeah, that's how I do.
I'm the same way. Like I've got fine hair, and when I was younger, my hair would get greasy pretty fast. I mean, and it's still like if I go for a day without washing it, then it's just impossible to style, just because bedhead and just the way the oils build up. If I don't wash my hair for a couple days, I look like I should be on deliverance.
Wow. Okay.
Like, it's that bad.
Wait.
So yeah, I definitely believe.
So you didn't wash your hair today? Yeah. So I mean, I think for me, in order to have the best possible look, you need to have clean hair. I understand that. I understand the concept or the theory of you need to let your natural oils, secrete so that your hair can be in the best possible condition. But you have to understand that you're dealing with dead keratin. So there are products that can kind of replenish that appearance of having natural oil in your hair, and that's called conditioner.
Okay. Well, yeah, I just wanted to go ahead and see your guys' opinions. One more thing too. So it's crazy because in my family, right? A lot of my uncles and my mom and even my dad, they're balding, right? But I have a cousin, and it's so crazy that people love to go ahead and people that aren't really into hair loss, they really love to say that it's because you don't eat right, you're not taking vitamins, and I think it's BS. And the reason why I say that is because
I'll tell you, I'm going to interrupt you, but the reason you should be thinking that and saying that is because most people are idiots. You need to understand that. If you understand that, you're a young guy, you're going to get through this world just fine. But go ahead.
Well, yeah, you're right. Well, the reason I say this is because I have a cousin who's 26 years old, just like me, right? And the funny thing is, I mean, this guy, he smokes, cigarettes every single day. He smokes a lot of them, and he a lot as well. And then he doesn't work out. He eats a bunch of junk food, but because of his genetics, like he has a full set of hair, like perfect. He doesn't care. Like he'll use like the cheaper shampoos, and his hair just looks nice because I mean it just genetically that's how I guess his hair was supposed to be. But in comparison to me, multivitamins, I've been using Rogaine since I was 19. I've been on finasteride. I'm on dutasteride, and now because I got a hair surgery, I don't know if you guys remember that or not, but I went to Dr. Koray in July, and now my better than I mean that I can remember. But it's just so funny how due to genetics, the biggest correlation to hair loss is it has to be your genetics.
Let me tell you, my father, he did lose his hair later in life. So that's why I was fucked up, because I was fooled. Like I thought I was safe. But my father smoked, I don't know, 2 packs of unfiltered cigarettes most of his life, and then he switched to Territon 100s that I used to steal when I was a kid. He didn't stop smoking. He didn't stop smoking until he was probably about 60. That's when his hair loss kind of started, actually. That was noticeable, and then he had a bald spot. But for most of his life, his adult life, young adult life, this guy looked like fucking Ricky Ricardo, man. I mean, beautiful head of hair, handsome fucking dude, strong as a motherfucker, and he didn't eat right, and he exercised. He's like this weird. He had this weird old school like medicine ball workout situation happening that kept his strength and his muscles. And he ate like shit, like everybody did back in the fucking 20s, 30s, and 40s, and he kept that lifestyle his entire life. Now, when he died at 90, he still had a highline. He still had a hairline.
Crazy.
So, I mean, it is what it is, man. Now, I'm not saying to go out there and smoke. But
yeah, exactly.
Listen, I smoked on and off. I mean, not a lot in high school because I was an athlete, but I kind of started then because my parents smoked, and I would steal cigarettes. I mean, at 8 years old, I was picking up cigarette butts off the street in New York that people would throw out, and we'd smoke them. So, but who knows? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't smoke now, luckily, and I really stopped around 24, but I never really smoked a lot. But it hit me. The gene was somewhere in my fucking family,
No, and looking at you through my computer screen, I mean, you still have a really good stuff here. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here, man. I'm gonna here. I'll let you take a closer look, guys. Enjoy that. No, I mean, listen, I appreciate that, but if you look, you can see. I'll show you the paint job. Everyone wants to see the crown. There it is, guys.
It is.
That's the paint job.
Bitches.
There's the crown, bitches. So, I mean, I do a paint job, but I think that people may get sick of me repeating my age, but I do it for a reason. Not to say, oh, how wonderful I look, just to say how long I've been suffering. That's really the key. Over 30 years I've been dealing with this. So I want people to understand there's hope if you make the right decisions. And you sound like you made it.
The other alternative to what you're saying is it's also to say you too cannot look like dog shit when you're my age if you just make the right decisions. Like you look young for 55. That's all there is to it. And so it should also serve as motivation for people that think they're going to look like shit when they're 55, because you're obviously, an argument against that. But I was also going to say, my argument against the genetics or the nutrition issue, which I do believe nutrition does play a role in overall hair health, but I don't believe it contributes to male pattern hair loss, because if that were the case, go to any refugee camp or third world country where they're not getting enough food, and tell me how many bald people there are compared to a sampling of average people that are in the first world, like here in Vancouver. During the right before the 2010 Winter Olympics, the World Health Organization came in and they make their rankings of cities, and they said that the downtown east side of Vancouver is one of the worst places they'd ever seen because of drug use and poverty and like if you drive down there, if you ever come to Vancouver and visit, it's like a war zone. You don't hear about it for some reason, but it's like a war zone. People are afraid to go down there. And people down there, like, full heads of hair everywhere. And it's some of the worst drug use in North America.
You just go to just go outside of my fucking place, man. You see this the encampments.
Now.
Yeah, the hair girl now. And that's what's insane. 6 months ago, you saw some homeless folks in Beverly Hills. You did. It's just now I go outside, it's like, what the fuck? I'm waiting for it to be on my front porch.
Now you might see some not homeless people in Beverly Hills. That's the way it's flipped.
Anyway, so a lot of great hair on the homeless.
Yeah, and that's my. I know you guys have a bunch of callers, so I'll go ahead and get off the line. But I just wanted to say that go ahead.
No, I actually had a question. We do have calls on the line, so guys, hold on. But you said that you had a surgery in Turkey, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay, and you had it with who?
Dr. Koray with ASMED.
Okay, so you had it with ASMED. I want to hear your experience.
Well, to be honest with you, so I graduated in May, right? And I wanted, I'm in the process of joining the military. But the thing is, I told myself, I'm like, look, man, I'm like, my hair has been a big, barrier for me to be happy a long time in my life, right? So with that being said, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and schedule, a hair surgery with Dr. Koray in the summer. And so that's what I did. And I was kind of, very worried about COVID, but I took the precautions. And, I made sure to go ahead and, stay away from people. I wiped down the airplane seat, all of that. And when I got to Turkey and I met Koray and I went to this facility, I found out that it was really state-of-the-art. Like, I had a great time. I mean, they welcomed me with open arms. Yeah, they welcomed me with open arms. I went by myself. And even, for example, I had troubles, getting a hotel reservation. And so they even let me stay there for an extra night, charge free. So I mean, what I'm trying to say is, I had overall a great experience. I did bring you guys up when they asked me, like, oh, why'd you come to our clinic? I let them know, from the start that, I mean, the main reason as to why I came to your clinic was because of Spencer and Joe Tillman. So yeah.
Well, like I said, I appreciate that. Sometimes I'm like, oh, don't tell anybody, but sometimes I think it's better maybe if you tell them, they will treat you with kid gloves, and you're going to get the best result possible. So tell me about your results so far.
Man, my results, you guys, like I said, I've been dealing with hair loss since I was 16 in high school. So, I mean, my hair loss is crazy aggressive, right? So the surgery I got was 3,200 FUE grafts in my frontal head and then also my temporal points. And now looking at my hair, 3 months, 3 to 4 months post-op, honestly, I love it. I look amazing. It looks natural. And I don't mind even, posting it up so you guys could see. Or posting up the link on the message form. But honestly, I love my results. It looks natural. It is filling in. It's beautiful. And I have no regrets at all.
Well, I'm glad. And, it's like anything else, it's cosmetic surgery. And, you're going to hear complaints, you're going to hear good things, you're going to hear bad things. The key for anyone who's involved in the IHS is, based on volume, to have mostly good results and mostly happy patients.
Yes, sir.
And I'm glad that you had a good result. I mean, when it's good, the positive life-changing effect and benefit it has is profound.
100%. 100%. I would like to say something about the way that you described your initial experience when they welcomed you with open arms. I understand, it's awesome, especially after traveling so far. You came from, you had a long flight to get there, and with the current COVID situation, it doesn't make things easier. But I want to make something perfectly clear. Everyone will welcome you with open arms when you're about to have a hair transplant. And I'm saying this not so much to you, but I am for people that are listening. Because while I know Dr. Koray, I know the clinic, and I've been to his old clinic. This what I'm about to say doesn't really apply specifically to him and your experience, but I think it's important patients understand that, and this goes back to some reviews I've seen, the way that you're treated when you show up and people are really nice to you, I always ask myself, how else are they supposed to treat you? Are they supposed to be mean to you? Are they supposed to be short with you? And I'm not trying to be a smart ass, but like it makes sense, right? Of course they're going to be nice to you. Of course they're going to treat you like you're a movie star, and they should. But never forget that a clinic will only treat you like a superstar until they don't. Meaning until something happens. And if you're not happy with your result from any clinic, the good ones will continue to treat you really well, but a lot of them will change their approach. And the point here is that it doesn't matter how nice they are when you come to their clinic. It doesn't matter how well they treat you, because
The result.
it's all because, like in the case of Koray and ASMED, they know how to take care of their patients better than most clinics I've seen, as far as their presentation and the professionalism and the steps that they go through to make sure that you're comfortable. And my hat is off to them, but it doesn't mean anything for the long run.
Look, the bottom line is it's like buying a fucking car. Okay, that's just the reality of it. When you're out there, when the guy's showing you the car, and he thinks you're going to buy a $150,000 ride, this guy will treat you like fucking gold. All of a sudden, your wife is being, would she like a massage? To fucking go over there and bring her fucking coffee and all this stuff. If you bring that car back in a week, you cannot find the fucking salesman. And that is the exact same situation with hair transplant. So when I see people putting out fucking reviews, especially the overseas clinics where it's like, oh, I just had the greatest experience. Tell me about your experience. And you see the doctor. I mean, it happens here in the U.S. You see the doctor leading the witness, so to speak, on what they should say or how was your experience? Did it hurt? Don't ignore that. Just scroll past that shit because that is complete bullshit. Yeah. The post-operative testimonial should be illegal in cosmetic surgery.
Yeah. No, I agree with you guys. And like I said, I'm pretty sure the viewers are grateful for, your guys' insight. And, I mean, you guys changed my life. And I know you guys hear this every single day, but I truly love you guys. What you guys are doing for the community, for everyone out there, it's remarkable. And I hope you guys just stay safe, and I'll let you guys go to your other callers. All
right, man. Well, listen, whenever you decide to set up a Patreon for us, you let us know.
Gotcha.
All right,
or
man.
GoFundMe would be nice. Yeah.
Whatever. All right, man. Good luck. I'm really happy for you. Congratulations.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. You guys take care.
Take care.
Thanks for calling.
The phone number is 888-659-3727. Guys who are trying to call in, we have a line open now so you can get through. Okay, now it's lit. So you're not going to get a busy signal. It's just going to go to a prompt. We figured out why that is. I still haven't gotten it done yet, but I did speak to my engineer yesterday who said he may have a solution without having me to actually get another Vonage situation box set up and having someone come out. And so whatever. I have to do this for the summit, though. I have to get that shit done because let me tell you, the doctors aren't going to be as smart as the callers. They're not going to know what the fuck's going on if they don't get a busy signal. They're going to be leaving. They're going to be leaving dozens of messages.
I could just see. Is this thing on?
Yeah.
Betty.
Yeah.
The Skyper ain't working.
Dude, I'm sorry. Listen, there's plenty of young guys out there that know their tech and women. But we are still working in a world where there's a lot of guys, in my age range, who just never really caught on to everyday technology.
Betty, the AOL ain't working.
Guys are still fucking using dial-up.
Yeah.
Phone number is 888-659-3727. Let's see who this is. And guys, I appreciate your help with letting us know how the sound comes through on Joe's chat. This is an interesting system, man. You're going through several different chains, and you have to kind of just figure it out sometimes when it's not working properly. It's a pain in the ass. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this, and where are you calling from? Jesus, let me turn off that fucking phone.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
Can you hear us?
Hey, how are you guys doing?
All right. Who's this, and where are you calling from, man?
My name is Brian, calling from Las Vegas. And
Hello, Brian.
first and foremost, nice to talk to you guys. I actually, I've been a watcher, I guess, for a few years of both you guys. Joe, I've communicated with you via email before. And I just want to say thank you guys for all the input and everything that you do. It is truly helpful.
I appreciate it. The watcher term sounds creepy, though. Just say listener.
I was kind of creeped out by that. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
Like you're talking like with binoculars or something, or hacking accounts. What are you talking about?
Yeah, something like that. All your YouTube videos and everything. And I've been somebody who's just been really kind of pushing this to the backside with, actually coming to terms that my hairline is going away. And I actually went down to see Dr. Keene, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Met with her. And I really just wanted to call in today to just kind of share my story, but get your advice from the two of you. Again, I'm super hesitant about all this in terms of getting natural results. I would say over the past 2 years with my hair, I've got real thick hair. I'm Italian. And, it's been a gradual progression of hair loss. And just one day, I got on a Skype call with my friends, and they're like, damn, dude, where's your hairline? What's going on? You're getting old. I'm 41 right now.
Friends are the worst. You're how old?
Yeah, and I'm 41.
Okay.
I'm actually from Toronto. I'm actually originally from Toronto, Canada. I'm Canadian living here in the U.S. But
Okay.
so, I really just started taking finasteride after meeting with Dr. Keene. And like most people say, I wish I would have started taking it maybe 2 years ago. I have not really noticed anything from it, but it's only been 2 weeks. And I guess my question to you guys is, I'm super nervous about the whole hairline, recreation of the hairline. And when I did go see Dr. Keene, she's, as you know, Joe, just from watching some of your YouTube videos, she's got a very aggressive approach with the height of my hairline. And as soon as I went
in some cases, I don't want her to get this label of being aggressive across the board, because I know she's not. But there are cases I've seen where her hairline placement is more aggressive than I'd say the average hair transplant doctor on some cases. So yeah, but that tells me that you probably got strong hair everywhere else.
I do. I've got super, super strong hair. It's thick, and she's like, wow. She's like, you got beautiful hair back here. But again, the progression of it it keeps going back. I'm losing the hairline.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my question is, she did give me an aggressive approach. Would it be best to maybe start halfway at first and then maybe next year do the other? Just so it's not so, in your face, in terms of recovery, in terms of being noticed. Does that make sense?
It does, but
break it up, or should I just go for it?
Well, there are two different questions here. So you're talking about going halfway because of recovery and the aesthetic impact.
Yeah.
Think of it like this: if you break it up into 2 surgeries, that's 2 recoveries versus 1, and the recovery won't be any different as far as I'll throw an arbitrary number out there: 3,000 grafts for a hairline versus 2,000 grafts. What was that? Like, what were her recommendations for the number of grafts for you?
2,000 for mine, and that included temple.
2,000 for you. Okay, so it would be, say, 2,000 grafts versus, say, 1,200 grafts times 2, because it's usually a little bit more if you break it up into 2 surgeries. So there's going to be no healing difference whatsoever as far as the recovery time and things like that. Like, it'll heal roughly the same period of time. The aesthetic impact, also no difference as far as like what people around you will notice. Typically what people notice is that you lost weight or you shaved your beard. both, where you didn't lose weight and you didn't have a beard, one or the other, or you switched from glasses to contacts when you didn't wear glasses at all. People don't automatically think about your hair when they notice something different, unless they think maybe a haircut, like maybe you cut your hair shorter.
Sure.
It doesn't register that you had a hair transplant unless it just doesn't look natural, or if you're talking to someone that's had one themselves, then they'll notice. They're hyper aware of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the aesthetic impact, big session ish versus small session times 2, there's zero difference. It just means you got to go through it twice versus once. But as far as should you go for a bigger one or a smaller one, that's up to you. And the way I look at it, if you're looking at mega sessions, I cut my teeth in this industry on mega sessions, and I'm not a fan. Like, I just don't think, if I were to go back in time, knowing what I know today, and I had the option of doing a 5,000 graft surgery versus the 2,000, 2,200, 2,400 grafts that I would have in my sessions, I would not go with a big session like that, because if something screws up, then you're pretty much done. Like 5,000 grafts not growing, or a 5,000 graft surgery not turning out well, bodes very poorly for your future prospects of getting repaired, much less getting to where you originally wanted to be with your first 5,000 graft surgery. So that's why I'm not a big fan of them. I mean, some clinics I work with still do big sessions, and that's fine, as long as the patients understand that there are no guarantees with surgery. Then that's a personal decision. But a 2,000 versus a 1,200 graft surgery, or roughly in those areas, it just depends on how it feels for you. But my first question to you is, what have you done to stop your hair loss? Because you just said that your recession is continuing. It's still moving back. So what have you done to stop your hair loss?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And like I said, the only thing that I have done in terms of, optimizing nutrition, taking different supplements, recently just getting on finasteride, and that's been it so far.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you a question. You just got on finasteride.
Yes.
What if you took it for a year and you realize, wait a second, I'm growing more hair back? Maybe
so
go ahead.
Yep. No, that's a great question. But can you truly grow hair back on the hairline?
Yes. Mm-hmm. You truly can. Now, it's not something that's publicized a lot. It's not something that was, finasteride or Propecia was not FDA approved for that indication, because it costs a lot of money to get approval for each indication. You have to have separate tests. It's tens of millions of dollars, if not more, in some cases, for each indication. So as soon as they were able to isolate and recognize and prove that this shit worked in the crown, that's what they went with. But it works all over the scalp. DHT is DHT.
I've seen it work all the scalp.
Yeah, and I can tell you that there's no doubt in my mind, while my hairline has continued to recede slowly on this drug, when I first started to take it, I saw a total halt in the recession and regrowth of hair all over my scalp. Now, it wasn't incredibly dramatic, meaning that, my hair loss was becoming noticeable, but to the average person, my hair may have looked a little weird because I was combing it down and putting some hairspray on it at the age of 21, 22. But it didn't really look like I was a balding person yet.
Okay. Well, that's all great points. And that's one of the reasons why I called in, because, Dr. Keene did mention, too, on the top of my head, not really the crown. I don't really have any indication of, hair loss looking down. However, the thinning and the thickness and the quality of the hairs on top, she said the finasteride would really help with that. And she, 3 months down the road, I was going to schedule this surgery. And she said, let's see where we are in 3 months and see how you do, and then kind of go from there. But that was in terms of, she's, as soon as I saw her, she's like, hey, we can do this. She's like, I see where your hairline used to be, and I can definitely create that hairline back for you. Taking the finasteride on the 3 months, let's see where we're at. And she thought that that would truly help with the thickness and quality of the hair on the top of the head.
And it truly can. I think if you're going to invest financially and emotionally in hair transplant surgery, then you need to be on medical therapy. That's my 100%. Thought. I can never twist anybody's arm to take finasteride, but I think if you choose not to take finasteride or other medical therapy, you shouldn't have a hair transplant.
You're setting yourself up for failure.
Right. You're setting yourself up for long-term failure for sure, but short-term failure in many cases as well. So she gave you good advice. Now my thing is, and listen, Dr. Keene has been with me on the IHS since its inception for for 20 years, so we're close to it. But you have to feel 100% comfortable with the physician's assessment and their plan for you. Yeah. Now, you don't necessarily have to be argumentative and try to force there are some patients out there that want to force either a lower hairline or force their design, and the physician's just like, you know what, I really believe it's in your best interest to do it this way, so I prefer not to treat you. Mm-hmm. So you have to respect that as well. But you need to be 100% comfortable with hairline placement, and you might not want to. If you feel like you're being forced to negotiate, then you should have another assessment. Have another consultation.
She wasn't forceful.
Good.
She wasn't forceful, and I responded back with an email saying, hey, is this a little aggressive? She's like, hey, if you think it is, no problem. She's like, we can taper it back.
Well, that's good.
Awesome.
That's
I'll
good.
be honest with you.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, she's an awesome lady. I mean, she's really good at what she does.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good to know. And I can't thank you guys enough for the time. Last question, and maybe other people are interested as well. And you may have already talked about it, but naturally my testosterone levels are very high. And looking at LeBron James having these hair transplants, having super high testosterone, why is he losing his hair after those transplants?
Genetics.
No idea. Yeah, but aside from genetics,
I didn't know if
we don't know. Like,
I didn't know
what's the rule in finasteride use in the NBA? Because I know that Olympic athletes couldn't, for the longest time, use finasteride because it can cover up the use of steroids. And I thought that was the case in some professional sports. I don't know if that's the case in basketball and NBA, but we don't know his situation. We don't know the details of things that he has done in the past to address his hair loss, what he's doing now. And so there's no way that we can really speculate why he's losing his hair, except for genetics.
I also know that he paints his hairline. So I mean, how many transplants did he actually have? Are we 100% sure that he had a hair transplant? Is that just stuff that we're reading about online? Because there's some shots where it looks like his headband is taking off his head paint, and it doesn't look like there's anything transplanted in that area to me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So,
all right, great. No,
I just don't see why LeBron doesn't just shave that shit and move on, because he would look fine.
Like real basketball players like Jordan. What? Sorry, did I say that out loud?
All right, man. Well, listen. Good luck, and again, don't rush into anything. I think you found somebody who is patient, who's caring, who has a tremendous amount of experience, and who's willing to make you as comfortable as possible. In general, her end results are stellar, as Joe will tell you. Mm-hmm. So, but surgery is the last resort. Okay. That's the thing. I don't like. Even when I talk about surgery, I just always have to throw that out there. You don't have to have surgery, man.
Yeah, no, and I completely. I mean, I would honestly think, thematically, that's what you guys have been saying it for a while with the whole, be sure you're doing everything before surgery, use it as last resort. And I think I'm at a point right now where, I had that oh shit moment when I'm styling my hair and I'm looking in the mirror and people are telling me that it's going back, and I'm like, wow, this is legit, it's happening.
Yeah.
And I think I either waited too long. And I'm looking.
You just become a statistic.
Yeah.
No doubt. But
I have that old shit moment every day, man. I've been dealing with it for 30 years. All right, listen. Good luck. Thanks for the call.
Thank you guys so much.
Okay, sure, you got it.
Thanks for calling.
888-659-3727 is the toll-free number. Give us a call here at The Bald Truth. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from? Hey, man.
Hello.
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 Hey, how's it going?
All right. Who's this? Hello.
Hey, this is Mike from Maryland.
Mike from Maryland. How are
Hello,
you?
Mike.
Yep.
Your phone's a little
good.
far.
How you guys?
Your phone's breaking up a little bit.
Hold on 1 second.
Well, while Mike
How
is
about
adjusting his phone, I'd like to just remind people watching this to please hit the like button. We've got 90 people in the room, and we only have 18 likes. So do us a favor, click the like button. And, of course, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please hit the subscribe button. And don't forget to click the bell for notifications of the next episode of Spencer Kobren's The Bald Truth with Joe Tillman. So with that said, we're back to Mike. Mike, how are you?
He's really pushing the with Joe Tillman thing. He wants it on the fucking logo. That's what he wants.
And he still hasn't made it yet. Sure, Joe will make it 3 years ago.
Never said that I would. Fucks up the whole brand, man. Fucks up the whole brand. Maybe I did. I don't know. Phone number 888-659-3727. Listen, we love Joe. That's what it's all about.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Okay. Yeah, so I've been watching this show for maybe, probably the last year or so. And, I decided to get on finasteride. And I was on it for about, maybe 3 or 4 months or so, and then I kind of stopped taking it, and then probably about 6 to maybe 8 months went by, and I just recently started taking it again, and just been passively looking into just hair restoration, stuff like that, and I'm probably about a Norwood 5A diffused, something along those lines, and I cover it up pretty well with Topic and things. It's I have to use like a lot of Topic every day.
How old are you?
I'm 30.
Okay. Yeah, Topic at any topic at any age is a pain in the ass, but Topic at 30, it depending on your just depending on where you're at and where you're equipped emotionally. Some people use it to kind of hide their hair loss, and they keep that. They want to stay in hiding about it. Like when I started using it, I just told the world. So for me, it was a lot easier to use concealer. But I know a lot of guys are like, when they start using something, they're like freaked out to fuck or to. That was crude. You know what I mean? To be with to be intimate with somebody, and they feel they don't want to get that shit on people's pillows and stuff like that. I mean, how does that make you feel at your age?
So funny enough, I've been using it for a long time, maybe like 4 or 5 years, and all my friends know about it and stuff. We kind of joke about it and things like that.
That's good.
I don't really mind. Like, I haven't told my coworkers or anything like that about it, but my friends know about it and stuff. It's not a big deal as far as like being intimate and things like that. Like, it was a pain, but, my girlfriend didn't really care. We kind of just laughed about it and whatever. But, I guess my main question was like, I'm kind of new into into this hair restoration thing. Of course, like everyone, I wish I started a while ago, but, one of the things you guys say all the time is like, do your research before, you jump into any type of surgeries, whatever. So kind of my loose plan is, I want to more like take finasteride more consistency, give it like a year, and then we'll see, how I feel, what things look like. But you guys say do the research, but I don't even know where to start, to be honest. And I looked at doctors close to me, like Dr. Lindsay and things like that. I haven't gotten a consultation, but what do you guys recommend on like where do you start? There's a lot of things on Joe's website, like the glossary and things like that. But it gets kind of overwhelming quick,
It is overwhelming. And where you start, and I'm going to let Joe. Joe seems to have a thought, but not that that's something unusual, Joe. But
Yay! Joe's got a thought. Yes.
But I would say that you're making, it's smart to say to yourself, I'm going to give medical treatment, medical therapy a shot, see what happens, give it a year. And during this time, you can do your research. It is overwhelming. There's a lot of great doctors out there, and there's a lot of really shitty doctors out there. And even if you find a great doctor, you can still get fucked up because it's cosmetic surgery. So that entire concept for me, as someone with OCD and as someone who actually understands this industry, is probably even more overwhelming for me than it is for you. So where do you start? Yeah, it's great. A glossary. It's great that Joe has all those terms. It's good to be familiar with exactly what's going on in your body and to know what people are talking about. That's great. I think Joe's list of questions is really smart. But some guys will be able to answer those questions. Some guys will answer them very well and still provide shitty surgery.
Yeah.
So that's my 2 cents as far as, how overwhelming it can be. You have to just do your own due diligence and meet and sit and talk with physicians, see as many patients as you can. Sometimes when you do too much research online, you kind of get, analysis paralysis. That could fuck you up as well. Joe, I know you have something to say.
Well, I was going to say, I think that, first off, thank you for mentioning my glossary. I'm glad you found it because I put it out there because I thought it was an important tool to have. But as with any glossary, it's good as a handy reference. So when you're doing your research on other websites and you come across terminology that you're not familiar with, then you can go to my website and reference the glossary, because that's when you'll understand what the terms mean. If you don't have any sort of context for the definition, then it doesn't really mean anything until you actually see it in a discussion online. But besides that, I think that your use of topic at this time is one, I'll say, barrier to understanding what a real hair transplant is all about. And what I mean by that is, I've seen this countless times. Guys that have been using Topic or Dermatch or Kobren or any of these fillers for thin scalps, they get used to the type of density that can provide, or the appearance of density and coverage. And unfortunately, what you get used to is not possible with surgery. And so I've seen this more times I can count, where someone that's used to using fibers or fillers to make their hair look fuller, they do all their research. They actually understand the basics quite well, and they may understand a little bit more than the basics. They might be quite well versed in terminology and things like this. But what they fail to realize, once they have their final result come in, is that they have a fantastic hair transplant, but they're not happy because it's still see-through, unlike what it might be with fibers or creams like Dermatch or whatever. And that makes the entire process a complete waste of time, money, and skin and hair. Because I've seen guys they're miserable because they're going back to using these fillers to get that appearance that they're used to. And I completely understand that, because for at least a few years, I was using that hair in a can bullshit. Good-looking hair, GLH or GLH. I used to buy it on off of late night TV back in the 90s, and it was a spray-in. And I was so addicted to this stuff that I had the wrong color. And I saw myself in a picture in a photo. I looked like a skunk because my hair was darker than the color of the spray I was using, and of course I was going right down the middle, so I looked like a damn skunk. And I still couldn't stop using it until I got the right color. Like I was still, it takes like 6 weeks to get your order. So for another 6 weeks, I was happy to use it because I would rather look like a skunk rather than look bald and have pluggy hairline. So that was my life, and it was one of the hardest things I ever did to stop using it. And I did it cold turkey, and I never went back. And I lived like that for another probably 6 years until I started going down my repair journey. So I think that you're asking, like I'm glad you came to us, and I'm glad you found our resources. But while you're doing your research that Spencer says, I think that you need to seriously consider backing off of your filler, your topic, so that you can see what your true baseline is for starting with your medication and maybe with your surgery down the road. Because if you don't have a solid baseline that not only you can see, but you can feel and you understand and it's a part of your life, then you're not going to appreciate any sort of gains that you get on medication or surgery, if you wind up having surgery, as well as if you would, you won't appreciate it as well on these fillers as if you'd been off of them, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, for sure. And I definitely
shut up.
I've taken pictures over the years and things like that to just to get like a decent baseline or whatever. And I'd say like over the last 4 years, it's definitely gotten a lot worse. And so yeah. I think I have a good idea with the baseline or whatever. It's just like I said, just looking into transplants. Like I'm not even sure if I really want one or anything, but just kind of looking into the possibility and just looking at research and looking at the bad things that can happen. Of course, just kind of passively doing it, not consuming my life with it. It's like Spencer said, analysis paralysis. Yeah. But just want to kind of look into it, and I also wouldn't be opposed to like continuing topic. Like some of the videos I watched from the results of Dr. Lindsay, like he seems to kind of recommend to his patients to use some to increase the density look a little bit and things like that. So I'm not sure if that's normal for other doctors to kind of recommend that, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely getting bad. And another thing that is a concern of mine is like I already have a scar on the side of my head from brain surgery that I've had, and that doesn't really concern me, like how it looks. It's definitely visible from my hairline, but I'm not sure how it looks like if I were to shave my head, and that's another concern. And so that's what's kind of got me looking at hair transplants, just to not have to shave my head. And,
like you said, you just started finasteride, right? Recently. Yeah. Give it some time. You may not have to shave your head. You may be able to save that hair for decades.
Yeah, for sure.
And
for sure. Yeah, that would be best case scenario.
And see what maybe shaving the head and having a scar. Especially if you look okay with a shaved head, maybe the scar won't look as freaky as you think. Who knows? I mean, you don't really know until you try. I'm not saying to do it, but don't rule out any options that are possible. A lot of people 100%. Think something's impossible when in fact it may not be as bad as you think. But you're doing the right thing, taking your time, looking at this passively, not making any desperate decisions, and
being skeptical.
Being skeptical, exactly.
Sure. Yeah. Well. Yeah. Thanks for the info, and I'll kind of just continue on, just passively looking at things. I think Joe's website kind of has a couple like other forums and things like that I can probably look into. I haven't dove too much into it other than like the glossary and his sort of like hair transplant class.
Dude, I'm just going to tell you, whatever forums he's linking to, including mine, stay off the fucking forums, man.
I mentioned forums, but I don't have a forum, just to be clear.
What was that? Sorry.
I said I mentioned forums. I talk about forums, but I don't have my own. Just so that listeners are clear about that, because I would not have a forum. And as Spencer says, stay off the forums, because you don't know who you're talking to. Like, I don't know if you heard us earlier before you called in, but we were talking about this where you don't know who you're dealing with when you're on forums, and many times you don't realize that you're actually dealing with a clinic who is on a forum posing as a regular patient, but you don't know anything about these people, and so there's no accountability for what they're telling you. Just keep that in mind.
Look, in general, some of the worst human beings on this planet spend time helping people on message forums. There's a couple of people, and the people that actually are accountable, that have a true public persona, that are not anonymous, that you can actually research. Okay, those are the people you might be able to take some advice from. But everybody else, you don't know who the fuck they are. You got to look into their lives. You got to see who they are. So, all right, man. Well, good luck.
I'll definitely keep digging around. Thanks a lot for the info.
Thanks,
guys.
Thank you, man. Good luck. Take care.
Thanks for calling, Mike.
Yeah, it's really weird. I mean, your sound is coming through okay, but I essentially, through my board, have little to no control over it. It's like, I know we're going software to software, but I can't fucking, like, here, speak.
And I listened on, like I muted you on our connection, and then just listened to our broadcast on YouTube to hear what they're hearing, and it sounded fine.
Yeah, no. Now it's coming in fine, but I could pot you all the way up, and I hear room noise in my head, but nothing. Yeah. Your levels aren't changing, so maybe there's something going on my board. I don't know. Perfect timing, by the way. 888-659-3727. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this, and where are you calling from?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we could hear you. You sound like you're a little bit in an echo chamber.
In a cave.
Sorry, this is Jason. I've talked to you before. I'm in Thailand.
Hey.
I'm trying to call for a while,
Jason.
but I can't, it's hard for me to wake up.
Welcome, man. How are you?
I'm good, and I didn't listen to your whole show, but I was touched by what I think is the last caller talking about a scar from a brain injury. And if you remember me at all, I too,
Jason,
pretty serious.
Buddy.
Yeah. Buddy, J International.
Yeah.
So I was really touched by that. It's kind of the story of my life where I had this somewhat horrific head injury scar, and it went down this road of folly trying to get hair to fix it and getting a second scar and not fixing the first scar, and kind of disaster. But I'm after a long hiatus, I'm actually back in the hair transplant game here in Thailand. I've been getting some work done.
And how's it going?
And I good. Yeah, I will say again about the scar. Not everyone looks good with a shaved head, unfortunately. So
yes, yeah.
You have to balance that with that. You could always make it worse. It's an important thing to remember. But the question I have is, so I've been getting FUE, and it seems like that just keeps advancing, and I've been able to get it from all over the body. And one interesting thing is, here they have oral minoxidil. You can just get it over the counter, and I actually am prescribed it. But that's making me grow a lot more body hair. So it's like this virtuous cycle where I have more body hair to transplant. But my question is, so I've been getting this, it's a funny thing. My question is, I've been getting transplants, and the doctor recognized my head as not a normal head, and she's been doing it, and then she'll stop, and she did it again for a month. So I had these 3 different surgeries over 3 months. I'm not exactly sure why she waited that long, but she left these gaps between the different transplant regions, and it looks good, but I have these gaps, and I'm eager to fill in those gaps, and I know about the cycle, but how long would you wait to fill in those gaps? Do I have to wait a year, or can I somehow get it done quicker? That's my question.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that I think that a standard approach would apply. And what I mean by standard, I mean like if you were a bald guy that was getting multiple surgeries for coverage front to back, and you couldn't get full coverage in one surgery. I think that the standard approach to the follow-up subsequent surgeries would apply in this case, and that would be a minimum of 8 months. And the reason being is because there's a gap doesn't mean that 3-4 months later and those hairs are growing in, that you can see where that gap was as clearly as when you actually had the procedure. So where you think the gap may be, you may have hairs that are coming through there 6 months after the surgery that you're not expecting, because maybe you forgot, or maybe that gap isn't quite as delineated as you're hoping, or demarcated as you're hoping or you're thinking, so that maybe you're going to go over some grafts that were placed with an incision making device and killing them before they have a chance to sprout. So I think it would be a bad idea to jump the gun on it. I think you need to wait a minimum of 8 months before you go back into that region to try and match up those gaps with previous work.
That's pretty much what she said. And if I may continue a little longer, I'm having a little deja vu here. If you know my distant history, I had strip before, and unfortunately, I didn't take any medications. I just didn't understand that you're supposed to do that. I had hair, it just progressed. I lost all that hair, and then I got FUE. FUE didn't even exist at the time. I got FUE in Australia, if you remember, and that was okay. I was doing all right. And then unfortunately, an unscrupulous other doctor came in and trampled on top of that, and my life is just full of these ironies. So I ended up destroying the new hair I got, and so I'm eager to not make that mistake again. And as much as everyone wants hair and I want hair, really got to be patient. So I'm glad to hear you pretty much say the same thing, and I unfortunately have to agree, and just going to wait it out. But it is looking good. What she's done so far is looking real good.
I'm glad to hear that. Yeah. You say she, and you're in Thailand. Is she also in Thailand, or are you traveling outside of Thailand for the work?
So basically, it's somewhat, if I leave Thailand, I probably won't be able to come back. So she is in Thailand, in Bangkok.
Okay.
And I checked out a bunch of doctors. I'm really, at the moment, I guess I could say her name, but I'm not kind of into naming names, but there is.
Why not? What's her name?
Definitely very good. All right, I'll say it, because she has been really good. She uses great equipment. Her name, I think, is Prima Tosvaborn. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing her last name correctly. I know I'm pronouncing her first name. But, yeah, she's right in the city of Bangkok. Her clinic is called Hairsmith Clinic. And except for the gaps, which I'm kind of, in a way, happy she's being conservative, because I don't want to get necrosis, and I guess if you do it slowly, it's better than rushing it. So I personally have had a good experience with her at Hairsmith Clinic.
I'm checking it out now. Yeah, that's great, man. And she's promoting her ABHRS certificate. She's a member of the ISHRS. She's a Real Self top contributor, which doesn't mean anything, but everybody is. But yeah, should have her apply to the IHRS. She looks good.
Yeah, I was wondering why she was part of that other board, the American Board of Hair Restoration Surgeons, but not the international one. But
essentially, when they take these so-called boards, they have a choice of getting an international certificate or the ABHRS certificate, and so people just choose which one they want. But that is really and I hate to say board certifying body, but really the only body in the industry that is giving these type of exams to physicians to test, their knowledge and their knowledge base on hair transplant surgery. So it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing.
Yeah, I only have a very tiny bit of head hair left. Head is definitely over-harvested, but I have a ton of body hair. Like I mentioned, this minoxidil situation. So I've had the beard, abdomen, chest, legs, and that's a miracle, really, for me.
Well, listen, I'm glad I remember you, by the way, and I'm glad that you sound like you're doing well. Now, why are you living in Thailand, if I can ask?
I'm actually managed to retire. and I love Thailand and very affordable. And so I'm retired here in Thailand.
Dude, I'm thinking about it, man. Like I could become like a sexual refugee there, man. Just I can eat and you know.
Yeah, if you find it, I'd love to hang out with you guys if you ever want to come here. Please look me up.
How old are you
It's
now?
Awesome. I'm 45, and wow. I got my first transplant when I was 20 because I was so eager to get this scar fixed, and that was quite a journey to get where I am now.
Yeah, I know.
That was in New York, if I recall, correct?
Yeah, that was. I really don't want to. This first doctor was pretty good, and it was in New York, and he was reluctant to do it, but my mother at the time kind of talked him into it due to this head injury scar, and unfortunately that hair, due to not understanding hair loss is progressive, and you really, really want to consider taking drugs. Due to not understanding that, I lost all that hair.
Yeah,
I can say if it's okay to say. That we have on the phone one of the earliest patients of body hair to scalp hair transplantation. Like you were one of the earliest.
I did it in Australia. Yeah, I am one of the earliest.
You went to Ray Woods.
I did go to Ray Woods, and he was, I don't know what he's become now, but he was an ethical and good guy, and he did do the body hair. And it's my own fault, really, is I was too zealous to cover my whole head. In my eagerness, I kept making things worse. But if I really wanted to cover my whole head,
but when you say it's your own fault, really, it is up to a physician, in my view. Even though this is a service-oriented industry, it's really up to the physician to make the critical calls and say, "Hey, look, man, we can't cover. This is what we can utilize. This is how much we should be moving, and we really want to preserve your donor in case of further progression."
Yeah, the thing I didn't understand is if you don't really reach I don't know how many grafts per centimeter, but if you don't achieve a certain density per centimeter, it is not helping anything because, and everyone wants to cover their whole head, but that's not necessarily going to work if you're not getting it. It's a waste, really. And I did not understand. Now I can do it because I have so much body hair. But,
you were an early adopter, early guinea pig of a lot of guys, and I remember your story. But what I'm going to take some other calls. What I'm curious about is you're calling us from Thailand. You moved there. You retired. What's it like, man? I'm seriously considering getting the fuck out of here.
I love the culture here. I've learned Thai and I speak Thai, and that's fun. I'm been married for a while to a woman from Laos, and I love the culture. I love warm weather, beaches. It's great. It's really it's like a world-class city in Bangkok, and it's a great time. It's not for everyone, but I love it here, and I would recommend it. I'd be happy to show you around.
How's your internet access?
I'm calling you on the internet right now, actually. So it's pretty good.
So do they have like super high speed? Like, is that possible? Dude, I'm actually doing my research, Joe. I know what's going on.
Yeah. So I'd say Thailand's pretty close to first world in some ways, and in some ways maybe even advanced beyond the United States.
Well, they have great health care.
They do. They do have great health care, and I'm getting it right now, actually. Yeah, there's back into the hair transplant situation. And they have different visas you consider it. You could get the retirement visa. Maybe we could talk about that offline if you're actually serious.
I am, depending on what happens in this country in the next 6 months, I don't know. If I could do the show from there, why the fuck not?
Why the fuck not?
Yeah, it's a great feeling. I love the United States, but I'm somewhat aloof to the situation because it doesn't affect me like it used to.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, listen, you sound well. Thank you so much for taking the time to call. And I honestly did retiring at 45 and moving to Thailand, and God, I envy you in that respect.
I didn't think I'd be here, but I'm here. And thank you for the advice, Joe.
Good for you, man.
You're welcome, buddy. Good hearing from you.
Okay.
Take care.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
888-659-3727. You get like one of these chicks for a sandwich. I mean, it's a totally different world.
You get a check for a sandwich. God, it's so wrong, but funny.
You know, here's the thing.
I love it.
You know, the cultural differences are just, I mean, they are profound. And, you know, people in different parts of the world appreciate things differently. They appreciate the luxuries in life, like, you know, running water and, you know, they're not concerned about things that other people are concerned about, like, you know, 12 feet by 12 feet handbags that cost $7,000 and shit like that.
Yeah. Well, I think that's kind of universal. Depends on where you are. But I got to say, it was great hearing from Jason. He is one of the nicest guys I've ever known. Like, I've known him offline. He's just such a nice guy. And his journey, it's such, and if he's still listening, sorry for me bringing this up, but it's such a sad story about such a nice guy continuously getting shafted by the so-called leaders of the industry. Like he'd been to some big names, and every time he got fucked. And so and I knew several years ago he moved to Thailand, but to hear him now, I got to tell you, he sounds so good, healthy.
And he's still
happy.
young.
I'm so glad for him. Yeah, of course. Yeah,
he's still young.
He's still young.
It's a good call.
Yeah, very, very happy for him.
Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from? Hello?
Gentlemen.
Dante.
Hello.
Dante.
Dante.
What's happening?
Good. How's New York?
How are you? It's okay. It's all right. I don't go to Manhattan, but I'm afraid, just like, you know, you're having the problems in L.A., but New Jersey's okay. You know, I'm really in New Jersey, so
okay.
That's all.
It's okay for now.
Right, exactly. I don't know what's going to happen. You know, we're waiting for the pending possible civil war. We're in a cold civil war right now. Might turn into a real civil war. Who knows?
Watch the movie on Netflix. What is it? It's not Social Network. It's something like that. Joe, help me out. It's a documentary.
Social Network?
It's not Social Network.
What about Facebook?
No.
Are
you not hearing me?
I am, but just because you said it's not doesn't mean it's not. It still could be. I don't know.
Let me see.
I don't watch movies anymore.
Netflix, social. Let's see what it says here. Is it the social dilemma? No, it's. Come on, Spence. What's going on with you?
I think I remember.
It's not social distance.
Social dilemma.
Is it social dilemma? I don't think so. Anyway, it really, essentially, it's focusing on the engine
dilemma. The documentary drama hybrid explores the dangerous human impact of social networking.
Yeah, and you're interviewing the engineers of today's social networking, social media, Facebook, Twitter, Google, and whatnot, and essentially, you know what. The power that they built into this, and these people actually saw what it was doing as far as, you know, creating not only just the polarization of our country, but atrocities in other parts of the world. You know, controlling elections, and you know, and now it's happening here. It's fucking frightening, man. And these guys worked for these companies, and they've kind of opted out. And they're, you know, they ask questions like, "Well, do you let your children use social media?" Everyone said no.
Hell no.
Like hell to the no. So we are in a very unique situation that I've never thought we would be in our lifetimes.
That social media question was in what country was that? Did they ask that?
Say it again?
What country did they ask that question that you just said?
That was here in the U.S. These are all U.S. engineers.
Oh, okay. So they ask engineers.
These are all
let their children watch social.
These are all guys that actually created different aspects of social media. The guy that created the like button for Facebook, and essentially how it was kind of built to work on a certain aspect of your brain to create endorphins every time you got a like or follow or whatever, and it becomes addictive. I know people who are actually, their lives have been truly affected by social media, or people who are not getting the follower count that they think they should have, or the likes to their content, and they're like, what's wrong with me? And I'm talking about children to adults.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy what they've done to this world.
Well, I don't know if you've seen this, but I know a lot of younger couples, like 30, people in their early 30s with like young kids, 5, 6, just to keep them entertained. They give them the cell phone and they watch videos.
Yeah.
While they can.
I see that all the time.
To do what they have to do. It's
yeah.
unbelievable.
I see that all the time. There's no way in hell, and I'm actually glad that I don't have children, to tell you the truth, in this world. Things were different, 20 years ago, obviously, but yeah, I see that all the time. They're used as babysitters. Listen, I was put in front of a black and white television with Cracker Jack, and that was my babysitter. And I understand that, but the worst thing that happened to me is I was like, I was parroting Monty Hall from Let's Make a Deal, or whatever.
Yeah,
it wasn't so bad.
Growing up today, we'd be parroting Cardi B.
Yeah, my first I guess crush was on Wrangler Jane from F Troop. Very very normal.
Yeah.
Mine was Farrah Fawcett.
You're a little younger. You're a little younger than me, but yeah, I mean, she was something. So anyway, Dante, what's up?
Let's see. I'm still looking for, Jason just called, talk about his body hair transplant. Going back to last week, because I didn't call in, but I listened to the show. Guys talking about, a lot of the conversation was the younger guys with the transplants at a young age, and I'm not going to care when I'm 40. I'm not going to care when I'm 50. And I think, Spencer, you even said you're not going to care maybe when you're 60. So I'm 64, and I still care. I'm out of my mind with this.
I didn't say I wouldn't care. I probably said something like, if I have to get a hair transplant at 60, I'll be, I fucking won. I lucked out. If I could hold off till then. Oh, I'm going to care for the rest of my life, man.
Yeah, you are. And so are these other guys that they think like 40 years old or 50 years old or 55 years old. They're going to feel the same way that they do today, I think, because I do. I think, Joe, I believe you do.
Feel the same way as what?
Like your hair's looking great. In the front, the back, the top, the whole thing. But you're 51 now. You're gonna still care 6, 7, 10 years from now. I can't see you.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt we're still gonna care. I mean, we learn to accept things, more and differently, and view things differently as we get older. So the sheer pain and panic and angst that it caused us initially and at a younger point in our lives, it's not going to exist in the same manner, but it's still going to suck. We're still going to be bummed. It could still depress us. But it's not going to be as much of at least in my view, I'm never going to be completely equipped or prepared for it, but at least I know what I need to do. So there'll be less of a panic.
Like in my case, the only reason why I have hair now is because when I was still untouched by Dr. Wong and I was still walking around as a Norwood 665 with 300 mini grafts sticking out of my hairline, I had just gotten divorced, and I knew that to get back into the dating world, I needed to do something to fix my hair. Like it was time. I'd lived with it for far too long, and that's the only reason why I went down this rabbit hole again. If I like the head shaving option just wasn't an option because back in the late 90s, early 2000s, if you shaved your head, you're a skinhead. You're a Nazi. Period. Full stop. So that's the only reason why I didn't do it. I didn't care about the scars. The 2 scars I have in the back of my scalp were meaningless to me. And it would be more traumatic for me today to shave my head if something happened than it was 20 years ago. Only because I'm used to having a lot of hair now. Like someone in the chat room was saying Joe's got his Elvis coif going on today. Yeah, and I can have an Elvis coif, and I like doing this. But at the same time, I know that if I did have to shave my head, I would be fine eventually, because my scar is much less visible than it ever was, and I got enough hair on top as in a shaved head situation where I don't look like a chemo kid. So
well, good for you. I'd be very unhappy.
It's it's all about you, man.
and listen, in the end, it always is, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's always about. Well, hey, your name's on the show, mine's not. So what do you do? But
remember that.
Yeah. See?
Just kidding. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
No. But anyway, yeah. So Dante, your question or your point, I get it. But it's.
Hold on. By the way, Rob, I get it. Rob, I get it. Spencer never shaved your head.
Getting your hair back.
I understand.
After getting your hair back, I think that it's like if I lost my hair again, it might be more traumatic for me because I dealt with it once. I don't want to deal with it again. So shaving as a choice, I can handle. But if I had to, it might be more traumatic than ever. That make sense?
Of course, yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, after what you have now, you wouldn't want to lose that. I mean, you shouldn't. You might lose a little bit, over the years, because I know I've lost some here and there, and I want to get some more on the top of my head. I'm working on that. But I'm not ready to pack it in. I'm in a, not married, but long time relationship, which is going well, fine, but still, it's like we say, it's for us. It's for me, for you, for Spencer. It's not for anyone else.
Yeah, maybe with a little more hair, you'd be in another long-term relationship that might go better. I'm just kidding.
Or maybe we have a bunch of short-term relationships. That wouldn't that be something?
Look, I still have hope, man. For all of us. So you are a guy like you said. You're in your 60s. You still care. You've done everything you can to maintain as much hair as you can. You still want hair. There's nothing wrong with that. The people who judge us for this, first of all, it's ridiculous, especially the women who are judgmental, or as they would say in today's vernacular, judgy about guys who want to maintain their appearance, especially when it comes to hair. It's fucking ridiculous, man. It really is. So the young guys who say they only want hair until they're 30, they'll be fine, or 40, they'll be fine. You are a prime example. And I think I'm a prime example. That's just not the case. We want to wake up every day, besides being able to walk and see and piss without pain, we'd like to look good too, if possible. Mm-hmm. And I don't see anything wrong with that.
Absolutely. Maybe the guys that maybe have let not let them.
Dude, it sounds like you're a fucking in Vietnam, man, with it like a helicopter over your head. What's going on?
Do you? No, I don't hear anything here.
Now it's better.
Okay, sorry. But if a guy went bald naturally and he's okay with it, but when you're fighting to keep your hair for like as many years as we have, and other guys that have, some of the older guys that call into the show, it's totally different, right? If I lost my hair and I was that way, I'm okay with it because I'm used to it now. But when you're fighting for like all these years to keep your hair, you're never going to change that. I don't think that's ever going to stop.
30 years, my man. 30 years.
Yeah, I think my first hair transplant was probably like 31 years ago now. That was the first one.
30 years of my life.
And the good
Mine
thing
was about 28 years ago.
Yeah, so you're never going to want to give up. It's different. It's different for people.
Well, it's actually over 30 years. Jeez, that's how old I am. It's 34 years. 34 years. All right, listen, Dante, we're going to take another call.
All right, just wanted to check in, say hello. Thanks for taking the call, and you guys stay well.
You
we
too,
speak
man.
Again.
Absolutely. You take care of yourself. Thanks for the call.
Good hearing from you.
Thanks.
The phone number is 888-659-3727. That's 888-659-3727. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this, and where are you calling from?
It's Mordy from Warzone, Brooklyn.
Fucking Mordy got through.
Hello, Mordy.
You kept at it, my man. Good for you.
Yeah, well, at first I was like, I don't want to be the first one. I'm kind of let some other people call in. Then I just sat and I was like, okay, I called in 2-3 times, got blocked, and then I got in, so here I am.
Oh, good. Yeah, we had a very busy show tonight.
It's good. It's good. It's good to have lots of busy calls.
Yeah.
Yeah, so report from Brooklyn, man. It's funny. He was talking about Jersey and New York City. I'm in Brooklyn, man. It's been interesting here, man. There's a bank down the block from my apartment, and it was all sprayed up with it was all graffitied up with red BLM, and F12 and all this kind of stuff. Thank God 2-3 days later they removed it, but it's kind of scary when this stuff literally happens down the block, because I'm 3 or 4 blocks from the Atlantic Center, where when the stuff was really hot, it was happening right there, but when it's literally down the block from the apartment, that's...
Well, I could walk to Rodeo Drive, and, when there was a time, during the initial protests, riots, that Rodeo Drive was essentially, windows were broken, everything had to be boarded up, graffiti all over the place, BLM all over the place, F the police all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, this is not a political statement of any kind. This is not what any community or country wants in this world. This is not how, in my view, how things should be done. But listen, who am I? What the fuck do I know? Yeah.
Well, again, I'm not judging. I'm just pointing out facts. These are things that I saw. So just to put that out there. It's funny. The other fellow was talking about being from Thailand. I myself have been toying with the idea of possibly relocating to Colombia, which is where my family is from. And the only reason I haven't even done the legwork is because of COVID.
Graham is saying there's a hair flying around in front of my face. That happens. It's windy. Yeah, windy. There's air conditioning. And, if I don't have the hairspray on every single hair, I'm going to get some flyaways. What am I going to do? Jesus Christ.
Add more hairspray.
All right, I'll be right back.
But Morty, I heard that Colombia is the place to go. I heard I heard that there's some cities, I forgot the name of the one city. It's in the mountains. It's supposed to be fantastic, and a lot of Americans are moving down there to get away from it all. Great cost of living, healthcare is really great. And it's just paradise. And so that'd be a good place. That's one place I read a lot of good things about.
Yeah, well, I lived there for 3 years when I was in high school, on the northern coast in the Caribbean, because they have an Atlantic coast and a Pacific coast, and it was beautiful there. But I mean, there's like Medellin is one of the big developed cities. Bogota is obviously the capital, and then there's other secondary, tertiary cities. The last time I was there was probably about 6 years ago. I went there with my mom. Because again, I have family there and I speak Spanish, so it's a natural fit. So yeah, it's when people like you, Spencer, you're starting to think about it. You're not the only one. So,
dude, I'm telling you, I am really considering getting the fuck out of here. Like I could work from anywhere, and when you think about the cost of living in different parts of the world compared to living here in LA. I don't have to. I'm not going to have to fucking work
here in New York, but
I can retire like Jason. That's it. Fuck it. Get a nice little place by the beach, and just eat and drink all day.
It's even more than that. The thing is that it's like, okay, fine, it's expensive to live in LA, but hey, you're in LA, and all of the benefits that entails. But when those benefits are gone, which
they're
they
gone.
are,
yeah.
then you only have the downsides. You don't have the upsides anymore. And that's kind of how it is here.
I see women walking around this area now, and they've been wearing their extensions, because they can't get to fucking hair salons, and they're falling apart, man. It's unbelievable what's happening to this place. LA is, I'm joking to some degree, but I mean, you could just see it on people's faces. I mean, they are stressed and strained, and people can't afford to live. And I know guys who I thought were probably more well off than they are, because I guess they were living beyond their means, big posers driving like Lamborghinis and Ferraris and shit. And all of a sudden you're like, where's your car? And like, oh yeah, well, it was a lease. I returned it. The lease was over. Bullshit. You had to get out of that lease somehow because you couldn't fucking afford the payments.
It is crazy. I mean, like there's this wonderful redhead that I know who she's this incredible singer. She used to perform at Disney Tokyo. She's a jazz singer. She had she sang Lincoln Center, and she's just this unbelievably gorgeous woman. She's freaking waiting tables, and she herself is like wondering how long she's going to stick it out. She's telling me a lot of her musician friends, which are also.
But how is she even waiting tables in New York?
Well, she's waiting. She fell into this little place, over the summer because you could do outdoor dining. Indoor dining is now open, but I got to tell you, I mean, I did an indoor dining last week, and it's crazy. It's like you go in. If you're going to do an indoor dining, a restaurant has to take your temperature. Then they have to basically have you fill out a freaking form where you tell them your address, your name, and all this shit. And then you're allowed to sit, and then they have to report that stuff back.
Really?
Yeah.
It's contact tracing.
Let me tell you, I have.
No, I get
I have
why,
not gone.
I have
not gone to a restaurant in 7 months. And where I live, and where the studio is. Now, here's the thing. I do think about. I should go back to the place in Calabasas. It's it's a different lifestyle. It's further out, but still, there's really no dining.
It's
Go ahead.
Compound. It's safer.
It is a compound, and it's great. I love it, and there's a lot of.
You got a bunker there, Spencer?
Kind of. It has a dojo and a great pool and a gym and all that stuff. But here's the thing. Well. I don't want to talk about the situation, but it's a possibility. I can definitely do that. I can definitely move back to Calabasas whenever I like, but I choose to stay in Beverly Hills for a lot of reasons, and the only reason that I'm really here is I really spent a lot and took a lot of time to build out the studio, and I'm able to utilize it and get a lot of work done. So I'm sticking around. But I was able to come out of this place. I walked to the left. And I'd be able to go to the Century City Mall. And I walk to the right, I'd be able to take advantage of all the great restaurants and everything in Beverly Hills, in the heart of Beverly Hills. It's just a perfect fucking spot to be. And now, when you walk out, you're tripping over homeless people.
Yeah, now you got nothing. There's no mall, wow. Jeez Louise.
It's sad, really.
Dude, I feel for you, man. It is. It totally is. I hope and pray that, the fact that there's this, like the treatments have gotten better. I mean, the fact that you had a 74-year-old man, with, an overweight 74-year-old man who just happens to be our president was able to get over it in a week leads me to believe that the treatments have gotten a lot better.
And for some reason, the media is fucking infuriated by that.
They're hoping for the worst.
Why? To me, this is an incredible signal. This is like, all right.
Yeah.
There's this is a guy who is not morbidly obese, but overweight, 74 years old. I guess what he had on his side was that he was not a drinker or smoker. But what's funny is he looks better now than he did before COVID.
Overweight. He's over. Yeah. Yeah, well, he's not just overweight. He is obese. I mean, you look at his BMI; it's got to be obese. It's not just overweight.
Well, okay, you're right. According to BMI, according to what doctors consider to be obese, if you're 25% or higher of your body fat, you're considered obese. I've known guys who had 25% body fat that just looked a little big. They didn't look fat.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's more fat around your
term,
heart.
Not a derogatory term. I'm not being derogatory. I'm being clinical when I use the word. So.
Oh no, I understand.
But yeah,
you can call anybody fat you want to. What do I give a shit?
I mean, because nowadays you got to be careful.
We just lost you, Morty. You know what? Sadly, I guess you do have to be careful, but you're anonymous, so you can say whatever the fuck you want. I'm the one who has to be careful.
No, it is kind of ridiculous because, like your point about you can't really call somebody fat because it's fat shaming. You can't be racist. You can't be anti-Semitic. You can't be you can't be xenophobic. All this kind of stuff. But the one thing that you can be is you can come at somebody because they're bald.
You can talk about someone's hair, a guy's hair, and you can talk about their dick.
Yep.
Now, how fucked up is that? Imagine if you went to a woman and say you were anti, saggy breasts, or whatever, or small breasts.
Exactly.
You can't say anything.
Oh, man.
You can't be in a restaurant and be like, what was it like? And then you make like a fucking saggy breast symbol or whatever, like hanging down to her knee. You can't do that. So sure. we're living in a really fucked, and again, it's also to the point where, can you really talk about bald shaming, or is it too shameful to talk about bald shaming? Like, can we make a thing about it? Can we start a movement? Why don't we have a million bald man march and start a fucking movement? Why don't we fucking go out in the streets and protest? This is our Me Too. This is our Me Too moment, man.
It's time to take our hair back. Wait, that didn't make sense.
Look, why should people be able to make us feel uncomfortable about a genetic condition? Essentially, it's a disease of our hair.
I think it's a him too moment.
We have this other genetic condition, right? We have this other genetic condition. We were born with a Y chromosome, right?
Yeah.
And we've got this, we've got this other genetic condition, which, well, anyway, let me stop. This is going off the deep end. Anyway, I wanted to ask you about something that I saw recently. So, Matt Dominance, the crazy German with the hair transplant, he did a video recently about Elon Musk. And when I watched it, I knew that I had to get Joe's attention on this because I know that you guys usually don't like to talk about celebrity hair transplants. However, the video, I wanted to ask A, if you'd seen it, and B, there was some really interesting close-up shots of Elon's hairline. And I got to say something. I was very surprised. I saw hairs that were tangent to his forehead. They were not, they weren't lying flat and parallel like they should. They were standing up. And they Matt showed a reverse of the back of his head and showed his scar. He had close cropped hair, and I was like, wow, holy crap, dude. And you're talking about a guy who pretty much could afford the best. And he had his first one when he was still with PayPal, I think.
But what I find fascinating is this is now all of a sudden something that people are talking about. I saw that there was a message forum that posted something about it, and then people who follow this industry, they follow all the bullshit that's going on in the forums, and then this came out. This is like old fucking news, and I have to tell you, that you can scrutinize it all you fucking want. This guy had a good goddamn hair transplant. In the end, he looks better. He looks younger. He feels better about himself. It was a total success.
100%. And to answer your question, no, I've not seen the video. This is the first time I'm hearing of it. But yeah, I don't like talking about it because it's like I've said it before. If they've not talked about it themselves, who the fuck am I to talk about it? Like I know, like I can look at Elon Musk. I can actually look at it and tell where he had his work done. I know where it was done. But
gotcha.
I'm not going to talk about it. He's not revealed it. So why? I just
all you have to do is look at the length and the placement of the scar. Anyone in this industry understands and knows in my view, where it was done. I'm not going to say it, Joe.
Like I just no, I'm not going to say it. But yeah, it's like I also, and this isn't against you, Morty. It's just the idea of why it's even interesting. I don't understand that. Like I know so many people in the entertainment industry that have had a hair transplant. Like I know them personally, and they've told me, or they've come to a clinic I worked with, or whatever. It's not interesting to me.
Right now, there's a guy who has a really popular show on Netflix. Long-time hair transplant guy. No one ever talks about him. We've been able to help, over the years, and there's a lot of other guys. These are guys you'll never know had a hair transplant. If you look really closely and you zoom into this shit, you're going to see a couple of doubles in the hairline. You're going to see maybe the hair is aligned a little bit more perpendicular than it should be in some areas. It's very difficult to find a perfect hair transplant. And honestly, if you do, you fucking show it to me, because I can go through anybody's hair and find a few grafts that are fucked up. Maybe not Joe's.
In fact,
I can do that.
Well, there was one that I actually had removed.
Yeah.
Actually, no. It was absolutely not.
Yes.
But no, and to be clear, like the only reason I do talk about celebrity hair like I've done a few videos, it's because they've talked about it themselves, and it's more of an opportunity to dissect what they've been through. Like this kid Zach Kornfeld from the Try Guys.
Sure.
On YouTube, like I made that video because what I was seeing during
you're a fucking
documentation of his surgery.
I'm just kidding.
Because I'm a goddamn opportunist. No, because what he was being told was not, in my opinion, the best thing to be telling him. And they had this little this hairdresser guy saying as soon as he realized that the surgery was done by a robot, then he knew it was the solution for Zach, because Zach didn't want to have any scars, he didn't want to have any evidence of surgery or whatever. Complete horseshit. And I even said in that video, it's like rule number one. Like when I was actually because I made 2 videos about this, about to make a third. The first thing I stopped in that video I was talking about was to say, rule number 1, never listen to your hairdresser about where to go get a hair transplant. They may know hair, but they don't know hair transplants. Period. Like it's just a bad idea. And this guy proved my point, because he's an idiot. Like he used to work for Bosley. Like I found out later on, like this hairdresser used to be a consultant, a consultant, but used to work for Bosley. And like there was so much wrong with that surgery, I had to speak out.
Didn't he work? Who used to work for Bosley? I'm sorry,
the hairdresser, the Asian guy, the Asian hairdresser at the beginning of the video.
Fucking Grant got me all fucked up. I'm like trying to move the hair just right. Jesus. But also the other guy who is a partner with his other doctor. When I was consulting with Restoration Robotics, this guy was front and center. He's one of the main sales guys for the company.
Silent tattoo guy.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's fine. He's going into something else, but I think it was really when you see this, it's funny. There's this young girl that I knew at the time, 27 years old. This is around the time that you did your video, Joe. And we were talking about this, and all these people of that generation, they know who the Try Guys are. And I explained to her what was going on, and in her mind, she's like, wow, she thought that there was like a new solution to hair loss because of that video.
Wow.
And this is how things are fucking being presented. And I think that's why it was so important for Joe to do what he did.
Yeah, no,
I've
I'm
gotten
glad
so
you
much
did that
pushback
video
from
show.
that too. Well,
You're
thank
kidding,
you.
really?
I got a lot. The number one comment, like I'll go ahead and tell you, I'm making another video about this because the two most common comments I got were, number one, it was only 7 months, I think, post surgery that I made that video about Zach. And so they're like, well, the clinic says it takes up to a year and a half to see final results, which is bullshit, by the way. And then the second most common, or the actual number one comment I was getting, had to do with Zach's autoimmune disease, and they're all saying, well, it was probably from his autoimmune disease. No, it wasn't, because his autoimmune disease, which is I forgot, it's AS for short, but I forgot the full name.
Ankylosing
It has to do with his spine. Yes, thank you. Very good.
It's ankylosing spondylitis. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a disease where you start growing excessive bone tissue along your spinal column. It can have some other issues, and it can affect the scalp as a side effect, but it doesn't prevent a hair transplant from growing. And if it does, the doctor should have known and advised him against a hair transplant if that was a potential issue. And I've said that in the comment section. So I decided to make another video. I'm addressing it, those two issues, as well as some interesting factoids I've learned since then while doing research for this one. And I think it's going to be more telling than the second video I made, because it goes into detail about the issues that people brought up. I dispel the myths, and I talk about the bigger picture regarding the circumstances behind his procedure to begin with. So I think it's going to be pretty interesting, and I hope to have it done in the next few days.
One of the biggest issues I have, and I think I'm just going to make this point, is, product manufacturers who are promoting products or devices as procedures. And technology is great, and there is some really great technology that is helping physicians do better jobs and to potentially advance the field. But there are very few technologies that have been developed in, I would say, the past 10 years that have really made that much of a difference. A punch is a punch is a punch. If you have the right handheld motorized device that kind of will make things easier for a doctor who's skilled or a practitioner who's skilled, that's fucking great. If it's a device that helps the physician bring in more patients, and so they, maybe they don't have to worry about the business aspect as much while helping them perform surgery, maybe slightly faster, that's great as long as they know what they're doing. But just saying that a device or a robot is what's cutting edge about hair transplant surgery today, that's not what's cutting edge about it, period. We're doing the Global Hair Loss Summit, and everybody wants to essentially be a technology contributor or a sponsor, vendor for the site. We are charging, I'm not going to say what we're charging, probably it's 4 times more than most of these established organizations were able to charge for brick and mortar. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And these guys are willing to pay to be a part of something that's virtual. But the reason for that is, just like with you guys, I only want physicians who are coming to this conference to see the very best tech that's available. That's not only going to help them with their practices, but it's going to help the end user. And who's that? That's you guys.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm looking forward to it, and I hope you. Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm looking forward to it, and I hope that you can open up some sessions for the peanut gallery, as it were.
I'm actually talking about it. Now, do you guys think, and I'm going to be very candid about this, because this is a tremendous undertaking with tremendous costs, just to let you know. As a consumer of information, do you think charging a consumer $1.99 to get into the 3 days plus 30 days after is a fair price and something that you'd be interested in? That's $199.
Spence, that I've spent, I've seen a number of doctors, and every time I've seen a doctor, I've dropped 2 bills. So
I just want to know. I don't. The one thing is, I never like to charge consumers for anything, but this is unique, and this can possibly give them an insight into the industry for what it is and how it works. It also is going to provide, in some cases, a physician's point of view, and I think that could be important for patients as well. Like, understand what the physician is thinking and why they're making certain decisions and how they feel when maybe they're being bashed online or potentially extorted online by patients who may have had a good outcome, but they're not 100% happy for whatever reason. I mean, there's a lot, everyone, there's a psychological equation that goes into all of this. I don't think patients really understand how doctors feel, and I don't think that doctors really understand how patients feel. So maybe this is a good opportunity, Joe. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that it is a good opportunity. It just depends on how that opportunity is presented. Like what kind of access or what kind of content would the consumers be privy to in their package or in their cost of entry? Because I think that, I think that overall it's well, I'll put it like this. I think it's a groundbreaking opportunity because no one's done that before. No one's opened up the conferences to the general public. And I think that if it's done right, it could be really successful.
But I could tell you this.
Be really valuable for both sides.
Alan Bauman, I asked him what he thought, and he's like, let them all in. Let them know what we're learning. Let them know what we're talking about. There's nothing, nothing to hide. I thought that was interesting because a lot of doctors would be like, no, these other organizations, they're not even letting technicians or assistants into their conference. Now, these are the people who are performing surgery on people.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And let's call a spade. That's an ego thing. That is to stroke the egos of the attendees, because if it's exclusive for doctors only, it just makes them feel better about themselves.
Well, then I don't see the point of the conference. Go ahead. Yeah.
The only thing I will say as a consumer is, and this is, I guess, one of the things that you should use when you shape the content that's consumer focused, is you want to make sure that the consumer walks out knowing more than when they walked in, number one, and that it isn't going to confuse them more than when they walked in. That's probably the only real caveat.
Well, that means a lot more work, so we're cutting it off right now.
Yeah.
So, thanks, Morty. You just killed it.
You just fucking killed it. You just killed it for all your fucking friends, Morty.
Yeah. So everyone, thank Morty in the chat room. Thank Morty for screwing you over.
Let me tell you something. When I go into this conference, I'm going to be fucking confused because there's so much shit that's going to be talked about, from regenerative medicine to nuances of complications that you guys should really never know about if you're going to have surgery. Not in my mind, but in the minds of a lot of physicians. But to me, it's like, why not open it up so that people know, you know what, this really bizarre complication happened in my practice, and we're going to talk about that. We also don't want
now, that would be a good thing for somebody like me to know.
Oh, what about the guy that had a lidocaine toxicity and his penis fell off? Did you hear about that one?
See, there you go.
I'm just kidding. I just made that up, people. Total lie.
I think we found the title of this show.
All right, Morty. We'll talk.
I'm going to drop off.
Penis falls off from hair transplant surgery.
Weekly World News.
Isn't that what happened to one of the ABHRS guys?
Becomes the bad boy.
All right, man. Listen, we'll talk to you later, man. Have a great weekend.
All right, man. Listen, good luck finding your retirement home, Spencer. And Joe, always the best, my friend.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks
for calling. Good hearing from you.
Yeah, I'm torn because I could open this up, and I'm sure that we'd get 1,000 people coming in, and it's great for them, and it's great to it will really help us to continue to grow the GHLS. Because of
course,
let me tell you something. As the costs add up, I'm like, oh, Jesus. Am I the only idiot willing to do this?
Are you the only idiot?
Well, to do it right.
No.
Well, you're working. No. You're working on it, but there's a little difference when you got to put your hand in your fucking pocket, dude.
Of course. No, I get it. I get it.
Shit ain't cheap. 888-659. Yeah.
And before you keep doing the number, but don't take the call yet, because I need to remind everyone. If I get back to the page, we have what? Shit, I can't see.
Ask me.
44 likes. Hit that like button, people. This is the second reminder. This video. Hit that like button. We're sitting here for free. We're here to help you. I'm not getting paid. I don't know if he's getting paid, this guy, but I'm not getting paid. So hit the like button And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and don't forget to hit the bell for notifications for next week's show and future shows, and of course, new videos coming out soon. Back to you, Spencer.
Look, if my eyes open, I'm getting paid. That's how I feel about life. You know, everybody should feel that way.
Getting paid, yo.
You know, it's interesting. I was talking to someone who's bringing a very unique piece of equipment and a piece of AI to the field. They contacted me. They want to launch the concept at the Global Hair Loss Summit. And I can't get into specifics right now, but from a marketing standpoint, it's brilliant. I think it seems like it would work. And I think for patients, it would give them a little relief knowing that at least before they decide to have treatment, they're going to know exactly how much of this particular treatment they're going to need in order to meet their end goals. Mm-hmm. Which will save time, money, pain, healing, and all that stuff. So I think it's great. What was my thought? Jesus, I'm getting old. Damn it.
But you look great.
Thank you. But, Jesus, it was a good fucking thought. Anyway, it happens. But I'm talking to this guy. Okay, I'm talking to this guy yesterday. Jesus, when that happens, man, it's just like it's a deer in the headlight situation. And we're talking we're talking about the industry. We're talking about how, first of all, this is an evergreen industry, and there's two ways to make a living. And one way is you can make a lot of money in bad medicine, a lot. And you can go on for a long time. But if you're looking at the long game, there's so much more money to be made in good medicine, but no one, for the most part in this field, not including you, Joe, has figured out how to do it. And the reason I think that I'm hated in this industry by so many doctors and foreign people and this and that is I've been doing this for 23 years. And the only reason I'm still doing it for 23 years is because I figured it out. And I'm able to say, don't have a hair transplant, or I don't have to sell anything to consumers, and I don't have to offer discount codes on my fucking content and all that happy horse shit. And people are upset about that. But I told this guy, you have an opportunity here. If you get into this and you do it the right way and you're really helping people, this will last you 20 years. So that's the story of me not wanting to sell anything. Yeah, he bought it and he's going to pay. I'm just kidding. Anyway, so my whole point is when you're talking about, I don't know if he's getting paid, I'm not getting paid, this guy's getting paid, this guy's taking money. There's nothing wrong with making money. Nothing wrong with being, earning in life.
No, of course.
You have to.
I'd like to make money from this.
How else are we supposed to do what we do? The one problem that I think we do have with the broadcast is because we are so honest and because this is all about truth, a lot of guys circle back after they've been fucked up because they're like, we don't want to listen to these two old guys and get an education. We want to buy an ebook.
Yeah.
Or we want to pay somebody for a consultation who doesn't know shit about the industry or may know a little bit, but we just want to get fixed. So we're willing to go in that direction first until we get fucked up. And then we'll be like, oh man, should have listened to old man Joe.
Should have listened to the old guys. Should have listened to the old guys.
Let's see who this is, and we'll go. Hey, man, last call. You're on the air. Who's this, and where are you calling from?
Hey, guys. Do you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, guys. It's Rolandus from UK. How are you doing?
Oh, hey, man. What's going on?
Rolandus. What's up, buddy?
Yeah, I'm really good. Speaking of the, being fucked on the first surgery and getting repaired, I had a question, just a quick one. I'm not going to take a lot of time of you. I've been contacted by one guy that just, sent me his pictures, been asking basically what he could possibly, do to fix his hairline because he had a bad transplant. And the first transplant he had was like a super, women-like, hairline done, basically. It's like super round. Mm-hmm. And I was just, wondering your opinion, is it possible to get, out a lot of the grafts to kind of, reduce basically the hairline?
Well, let me ask you first, why are people sending you pictures of their their hair transplants asking for help. Are you
Oh, yeah.
are you consulting now?
No, sorry about it. No, I'm just involved. I'm just, on the forums, on the Facebook groups and whatnot, just, chatting with guys. I'm not getting money for this.
Oh, okay.
And, I'm just, basically preaching what you guys are, teaching for us. So, by the way, thanks for all whatever
Why are
you
you
do.
are you sharing the link to the show? Are you sharing the link to the show? Are you saying go watch Spencer and Joe? These guys
yeah.
know their shit.
Absolutely. I actually told him to call into the show last week, but he didn't for some reason. And he didn't this week. So I decided to call for him basically, and so I can message him back. I just feel
All right.
bad.
So you're carrying the torch. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right.
Feel bad
So
for the guys that
so to answer your question, yeah, it's possible to remove the grafts, but the problem I found is well, I mean, I'll back up. Did he go to a cheap place to get his hair transplant, or is this a place that he went to that he says that he researched well and supposedly has a good reputation?
Yes, he went to the cheap place that don't know obviously what they're doing.
Yeah.
They gave him a feminine hairline.
So it's another classic example where the repair costs more than or the solution costs more than the problem, where he's spending far more money to repair the discount procedure that he got. This happens every day. I hear from so many guys that say, yeah, I went to, insert country here or insert clinic here, and now I need to get it fixed because of misshapen hairline or just shitty work in general. I mean, the reasons are endless. But yes, it is fixable, and it's usually in one of two ways, where grafts are removed one by one using FUE, or the grafts are removed with what's commonly referred to as a brow lift or a hairline lowering procedure, where it's literally a strip of tissue. It's like it's an FUT before the hairline. And there are other possibilities with like maybe laser hair removal or electrolysis, but that destroys the hair completely and it can't be recycled. Now, the problem is if you go the surgical route where you're trying to recycle that hair, if you're going with FUE to remove those individual grafts, you can cause a lot of damage, because oftentimes if a clinic is stupid enough to create that kind of hairline, it means that they're not generally very good at handling the grafts to begin with or inserting them. So a lot of times those grafts will be compacted and pushed too far in, or damaged somehow, and that makes extraction more difficult. The scar tissue that can form from a lot of these clinics doing these procedures can be more than one single secondary procedure can deal with. So a lot of these cases take 2 passes or even 3 passes or even 4 passes to get those hairs out properly, because they keep regrowing. Like, the graft may come out, but it's such a big graft that part of the follicle is still in the scalp, and it regrows. Or it may be transected and part of it's taken out, but it's so damaged from the original procedure that you can't not transect the graft, and it regrows again. So it takes multiple passes, but then with each multiple pass, you got a higher potential for visible scarring in the hairline. The other way, which is an FUT of the hairline, it's actually far more effective because you're removing all the hair and all the scar tissue in one pass. And while you do wind up having a very, in my experience, a very thin scar along the hairline, a second procedure is necessary to camouflage it, and it almost always works. But the problem with that is no one wants to have a strip on the hairline. Like, it scares the shit out of people, and I understand why. But every case I've seen where a strip was done on the hairline versus FUE was done on a hairline, the FUT results are by far better every single time. Almost all the grafts can be taken in one shot, and it's just a small second pass to camouflage the scar, and you're done. But no one wants to do that. It scares them, and fewer doctors are actually qualified to do it today than ever, because strip just isn't commonly done like it used to be. So yeah, that's the long answer.
Yeah, sounds great. I mean, quite good answer. Because the guy sent me the pictures, and it looks pretty horrible, to be honest. Like, the hairline just goes so round and like so low. It just the guy's still struggling. Every day he's trying to shave it and whatnot. And yeah, I was just generally I've seen many surgeons actually removing by FUE, but I haven't seen such a big cases. Because I think you would need to remove at least like 500 grafts, which I think it's quite a lot.
I've seen cases where 2,000 grafts were removed out of a hairline. Kyle Christie from the UK, the guy I did the that one video about Kyle Christie, the celebrity hairline disaster, the Kyle Christie effect. Yeah, I got him hooked up with Dr. Lupinzula in Brussels, and Dr. Lupinzula removed almost all of the grafts in one session. And that was, I think it was over 1,000 grafts that were removed. And he's like, there's some touch-up stuff done later on, but he's a great example of having a hairline removed via FUE. He's talked about this online, so that's why I'm able to say this. I finally got him help, and it worked out. Like, it's not perfect, but it's far better than it was. Far better than it was. So he's a great example to look at. Someone that you can see a before and after. Just go to his Instagram.
Yeah, this video, by the way, is one of the best that you made. So yeah, a lot of people are sharing, and a lot of people are learning from it. So thanks for that. Yeah. I actually forward this guy to Dr. Lupinzula, Dr. Bisanga, and all of the better surgeons, just to kind of reach out and to see what they say. So I don't know if he did it yet. I'm just generally, I'm curious as well, what is possible to be done in this situation. So I'm just my natural curiosity basically, and that's it. So yeah, thanks so much for.
All right, man. Well, listen, thanks for the call, and thank you for allowing Joe to help me with my nap.
I'm glad I don't have self-image issues.
Dude. I bust balls. That's what I do. All right, man. Listen, thanks a lot.
Of course.
No worries,
right,
guys.
Take care. Bye-bye. All right, phones are going off. I know we started late, but we made up for the time. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. It was a really a great show. We had a very powerful showing today. I want to thank everyone who took the time to call in, to show up, to watch the show, to listen to the broadcast. It looks like the little hair loss show that could is still going.
Because it can. Because it did.
Because it did.
The little hair loss show that did.
It did. That's hairtransplantmentor.com for Joe Tillman's personal website. hairtransplantmentor.com. Go check out that glossary that, what's his name was talking about. I forget his name.
Was it? Mike. Yeah, Mike. I think Mike.
Also, youtube.com /hairtransplantmentor for Joe Tillman's YouTube page, which is also where you can watch The Bald Truth in both live and communicate, and archived, because we haven't been putting up shit. Joe's just been recording it, allowing it to sit on his page, and that's how you're going to watch it for a while. And I'm good with that.
We haven't been putting up shit.
I've been really busy, and I have to tell you that, I like the audience that we're building through your YouTube channel, to tell you the truth.
I'll tell you, they're loyal.
Yes.
So they keep coming back. So either they're loyal or they just don't have lives. I'm not sure which, but we appreciate them.
Absolutely.
Because without them, we wouldn't have a show.
And I want Rob Hellner to not worry about me shaving my head. It's unlikely I'm going to do it. If I do, you guys will all know. But I know you really don't want me to.
Because I'll be online sharing pictures in a side-by-side with Keene from Kung Fu.
Dude.
As a comparison.
I would be sitting in front of the camera crying while doing it.
But you do it on camera. Kind of like the crying game.
I would send some COVID negative person out to get me a pack of Camel Lights, because I'll be smoking a cigarette for that one.
Yeah. Yep.
And a bottle of Jack Daniels, and that would be it. And then I would sign off, and I'll pull a Joe from Staten Island.
Lay in bed with barbiturates? What?
That would be it. That would be my swan song. Anyway, knock on wood. Doing okay. The website's thebaldtruth.com, IAHRS.org for the International Alliance of Hair Restoration Surgeons. If you're considering surgery, look, created the organization. It's going into its 20th year. It's funny. I just was contacted by my trademark attorney to congratulate us and saying that this guy's been in business for a long time. But he says I'm one of the few trademarks, all of my trademarks, that have ever lasted more than a decade.
Wow.
And we're in two decades now. So it's pretty wild, actually.
Pretty wild.
And depressing at the same time.
Dude, we just made history. I'm looking at our analytics. We've officially had 1,000 playbacks of this broadcast while it's still live. That's amazing.
That's Spencer Kobren's The Bald Truth with Joe Tillman. History. Guys, again, thebaldtruth.com, IHRS.org, AmericanHairLoss.org for the American Hair Loss Association, baldtruthtalk.com. But, dude, stay off the forum. I know you won't, but I'm going to give it out anyway. If you want to check out the message forum, we try to keep it as safe and as well moderated as possible. It's the best we can do. The internet's a crazy place. Until next time, be strong, God bless, and thank you so much for listening. Have a good night.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for any inconvenience you may have been put to prior to the programme, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. And if you could now leave by the exits at the rear, that'd be splendid. Thank you. Good night.